away. My Bitcoin bowl is all I have left. Sold my house, my gold no less. The wolves I circled in my huddling hands, but this man's much stronger than the average man. Today the market has taken another dip to restock, refuel this moonboard ship. My dreams may be futile, oh, this you say, while my Bitcoin bowl keeps charging away.
So, welcome to today's episode. We are here with Adrianna from Cypherglass. So, welcome.
Hi, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good, and let's hope that everyone in the stream can hear us. Everything is set up correctly. I will actually also hit record on this so we have a backup of whatever we are talking about. So, Adrianna, let everyone know, who are you and what are you doing for a living?
Hi. So my name is Adrianna Mendez. I am the CEO of Cypherglass currently. I took over Cypherglass earlier this year when our prior CEO, Rob Finch, decided to move on from the ecosystem, and it's been a hell of a ride. Cypherglass is essentially a block producer on many EOSIO chains, or node operator, guild, whatever you'd like to call us. We run infrastructure for the world's leading blockchains. That includes networks like DApp, WAX, Telos, and EOS. And our mission is to use some of our profits and give it back to the ecosystem to help develop some good decentralized apps and things that we really believe in that lead to a more distributed world.
That sounds great. I mean, the vision is there, and from what Cypherglass has done before, I mean, the bug bounty to get hardware wallets for EOSIO was one of the major things that. So tell us, what was that about, and what happened there?
Yeah, so we were a founding block producer to the EOS ecosystem, which was quite a ride. I mean, we started back in early 2018 when this whole EOSIO network thing was really new. We helped launch the chain. We were actually really critical in making sure that it went up. And and stayed up, and then we campaigned very heavily to try to get the votes to be a block producer. And part of that was wanting to give back to the EOS community in ways of tools that they could actually, use and make the network more functional and healthy. So we announced a $100,000 bounty to produce the wallet for Trezor and Ledger, and both bounties were claimed by the Fairy Wallet team, and they did a really, really good job, getting that out into the ecosystem. And I think we were praised very heavily for, contributing that into the ecosystem and making it much easier for everyone to hold their EOS on a ledger. So, more secure, definitely not holding your, can always recommend not holding your tokens on an exchange, always keeping them on a hardware wallet is preferable.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone using a hardware wallet right now with any EOSIO chain like Wax, EOS, Talos, or whatever, they need to be grateful for whatever you started. You didn't build it, but you for sure motivated the people building it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Our group that, at Cypherglass, we're essentially 3 managing partners right now. It's myself, Ross, and James. And James and Ross are awesome. They have tons of experience building data centers and hosting infrastructure. So they've been really critical to helping, networks, stand up and get going. And I think as a block producer, without developers, it's kind of interesting to find our niche in this space. But I think we've managed to find it by, hosting all these different bounties and getting the community involved with the ecosystem rather than just doing it for them, just putting it out there. So it's interesting because we've met a lot of great developers and introduced a lot of junior devs to the ecosystem as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you have given a lot of attention. I mean, Rob did a good job in just getting people's attention to EOS when it launched. But I mean, he had this famous bet that he said that EOS will reach $1,000 by the end of year. And yep. It didn't really reach that.
No, we didn't hit $1,000.
Yeah.
I remember the bet being such a big controversy for Cypherglass. Some people were, appreciative of it, and they thought, yeah, it could absolutely reach 1,000. And I think other people, saw it as kind of a shill. And there was a lot of mixed feelings about it. But needless to say, I think it did get a lot of the crypto community, not just the EOS community, but the crypto community's attention. And for me at the time, it wasn't too hard to think that a coin like that could hit $1,000 if something like Ethereum was hitting $1,000.
Yeah.
So, I think when the bet was made, it was like, this could totally be possible with airdrops and, what if things poured over? Of course, it didn't exactly work out like that, but I think we learned from our mistakes, and now we're trying with all of these other parachains or sister chains or whatever you'd like to call them. And I think there's still a lot of utility and usability with EOS. I think it's still not being given the credit that it really deserves as a network, because when it comes to public networks, they all have their problems. There's an argument even against Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that they're centralized or that there's a bottleneck somewhere. EOS is no different. But I think when it comes to like prime time applications getting ready to scale worldwide, EOS is still one of my favorites for an application to move over to and say like, hey, we're gonna launch on a public network.
Yeah, and currently it's not. I mean, the issue with EOS is that you need a lot of EOS stake to use it. But with Rex, like when Rex launched and the mining started, when they started to have these protocols to mine with CPU, it got pretty difficult to do anything on EOS. But right now it's not that difficult. I just rented CPU the other day because I wanted to buy some box Defi tokens, and it cost me 0.1 EOS, and I had 400 EOS in CPU. And if you don't know that, that's enough transactions for most people. You will not even notice anything. So 0.1 EOS for a month, and you can use it as much as you want. Compared to, I just watched a video today, there was someone that wanted to stake Sushi tokens, and he wanted to have some rewards. He has had to do 3 actions, and together it was almost $70 in fees just to do that one thing. And that is crazy.
It's not sustainable. It's just not a sustainable ecosystem to expect people to keep paying transaction fees. For a car that isn't even moving that fast. That's how I kind of describe it. For you're paying Lamborghini prices for something not going Lamborghini speed. And I kind of I respect the Ethereum community. I think that Ethereum has a place. I think, every business that wants to build on top of a blockchain is going to utilize a blockchain completely different. And sometimes Ethereum is going to work better for that. Or they're going to, just know Solidity and want to build on that chain. And that's great. But I think when you're talking about like enterprise level applications or enterprise level access to information and to databases, you're not going to be able to use something like that and expect people to publicly pay a fee of that cost. And what I'm excited about is, as a block producer, I'm receiving calls all the time from projects over on Ethereum that are asking like, hey, how easy is it for me to port this over? What does it look like on this chain? What does it look like on an EOSIO chain? What's really possible here? And that's why I'm so excited about the DeFi movement. I don't think it's a DeFi movement. I think decentralized finance is crypto. Cryptocurrency is decentralized finance. What's happening right now is a massive interoperability movement. So we're getting all of these pairs. We're figuring out that these smart contracts can indeed talk. We're seeing swaps happen at speeds we've never seen them happen at before. And I think eventually it's only a matter of time before that leaks into the EOS ecosystem and we start seeing all these different token pairs to EOS. And then those projects start to figure out that there's, gasless fee, there's no fees over here. And I think things will start to move over, and eventually it won't be EOS versus Ethereum. It'll just be all of these different pairs and tokens and chains. And you'll choose, you'll actively choose who you want to share your data with, what marketplace you want to participate in, what community suits you. And that's okay. So the tribalism that we're seeing right now, it serves zero purpose other than maybe some competitive fun.
Yeah, and I'm one that really don't understand the tribalism at all. I just feel that every project out there has something beautiful and something to offer, and we can learn from. So I am all for EOS. I'm all for Wax, for Ethereum, and right now I'm kind of interested in what Polkadot is doing, because they are growing rather hefty. But I have not really put my time into that. And on EOS right now, the DeFi box is kind of interesting. The swapping of tokens is very smooth, and you can actually get some rewards if you provide liquidity. I don't know if that will succeed, but I like the idea of it.
I think it's our version, or EOS's version or attempt at something like Uniswap, which has obviously become super popular. The fact that Uniswap is doing more volume than Coinbase, I think says it all. When you have people that are trading that quickly in a market like this, you need these swap tools. And I think it's really interesting that these set of more EOSIO geared node operators have opened up this project, because it's going to give places like all this work that Gap's doing, for example, to build all these different bridges. All of this is really coming together to me to see an ecosystem that's going to be, hopefully, you can trade transactionless, like feeless. And I think that's what DeFi Box is going to be. And I personally am really excited about Box. I've been kind of shilling it everywhere on Twitter to my kind of existing crypto trading friends who don't really love EOS right now. But I am seeing sentiment change. So it's interesting. And especially with Wax now, I think Wax is kind of the talk of the crypto community at the moment. Just with so much usability and real live partnerships with big companies that are well known, that brand recognition is really growing, and I'm excited about that because we are a guild on that network.
Yeah, and Wax is great because we actually have a product. We have something that people can use. It's not just this is what we want to build, this is the future. We have something working right now, and a lot of that is thanks to Pink Network with Atomic Asset, Atomic Had. They made everything so smooth, and the user experience for the new creators that come with art, come with NFTs. I mean, it's amazing just what Uplift Art did the other day, just putting out music videos, and they actually put up a short film on an NFT as well. And I mean, it's a lot of exciting things that they are testing and exploring right now on Wax. So that's great.
Yeah, I am super proud of the Wax, ecosystem. The Pink Network guys you guys are phenomenal. I can't give it up to them enough. The Atomic Asset Hub is beautiful. I think it's so neat that you can get on there and it's easy to compare what you have to your friends and kind of say like, look, I have this one, I have this NFT, I have this card, what you have. And I'm excited because I know that it's only a matter of time before games and more interactive features start to get built around these NFTs. And I'm really excited because there's so many NFT marketplaces now. I went from 0 to 100 really quickly. And when you see people like the Winklevi getting involved, this is something big. And like me personally, I have a background in marketing, data analytics, and consumer psychology. That's really my interest and where I come from as a thought leader. And NFTs to me provide so many opportunities in terms of digital marketing and interactive marketing. That's what I'm most excited about. These NFTs, the trading cards, they're cool. They're great use cases. They are showcasing that there's a real business model to be built on top of public blockchain and NFTs. Wax has done a flawless job with that. But next, something that I've been thinking about bringing to the ecosystem is building some kind of tool that monitors that trading, that monitors that action, that is more like, like a permissioned MailChimp. Kurt Braggett did D-Mail last year on EOS, and I think D-Mail still has a lot of promise to be something like a permissioned messenger that really helps eliminate spam and bots. There's a lot of interactive features that you can do with NFTs that don't necessarily involve trading or gaming. They're more marketing features. And so that's what I'm looking for and kind of trying to study in the ecosystem, especially when you have something like voice coming out and being this big social media play. I'm interested to see how these NFTs are going to interact with social media and how they're going to interact with digital marketing.
Yeah, and digital marketing is something that I think is 100%. The social media goes into the same box, and I know that the Pink Network guys, the guys behind Atomic Hub, are actually working on things that will enable that. And I know that one thing is live that I have been supposed to test for the last 2 weeks. I have not really gotten around to it. Something will be shown on this channel in the coming 2 weeks at least. Yeah, and it will be live for one of the live shows. I can promise that it will be available until the Kevin Art live stream the 11th of September, but probably before that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that will enable creators to do something fun to interact with the audience, and that is great.
Yeah. So recently, Cypherglass signed a media partnership with Girl Gone Crypto, and she's a really big popular crypto influencer, and she came to me and was like, hey, I want to get more involved in the EOS ecosystem. What can we do together? And so one of the things we'll be doing shortly is doing a live stream or doing some type of video showcasing Atomic assets and having her create her very first NFT for her show, and we're going to give it away. So I'm really excited to showcase the hub. So there'll be more content coming out on how to use that to actually create NFTs and looking at the schemes and the themes and different categories of NFTs that you can produce right now. You don't need to wait. You don't need to be technical. You don't need to know how to code. You can go on to Atomic Hub right now and create an NFT.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's very exciting what can be done with this, because just as a subscription thing for streamers, instead of they just paying like a donation to a streamer. I mean, the streaming industry is a multi-million-dollar industry. It's crazy how much money that goes. Just in donations, and then they have the sponsors and everything. But if you donate, you have 1 month, and then you perhaps get some emojis, you get some chat features, but you should also get an NFT so that you has. Perhaps you can sell it later. Perhaps you can use it just as some kind of showcase. I was there from the beginning. That way, some small up and comer streamer can actually have some interest, because people can speculate that this person is actually gonna grow in the future. So perhaps I buy the first NFTs from him, and I can sell it later when he's bigger. Catch Ninja and Shroud from the start or something like that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting concept, because you can, include all kinds of benefits with those NFTs that allow those people into, exclusive content or giveaways, or give them access, to better chances at giveaways. And that, to me, is just fascinating. It's completely endless. when you think about marketing and NFTs. And I mean, even in the physical world, I think NFTs are going to be so important. You know, we talk about digital art being this huge marketplace for NFTs, but even physical art. I mean, there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so many issues in the physical art world that I think NFTs are going to really, help solve. And we're not quite bridging that gap yet. That's what I would like to see the ecosystem start to move towards is let's stop talking to the inside echo chamber of crypto and let's start breaking out of that into, real businesses and communities. I think if you're really involved in crypto and you're not sure how to participate and you don't want to do a podcast or a YouTube channel, I think one of the best ways to get involved is to talk to your local chamber of commerce, talk to your local government, and tell them like, hey, there's this really cool technology that you guys could be using from everything from, identity to voting to library cards to, car registration. And a lot of these people are so much more available right now. I think the state of the world and the way it's rapidly changing has kind of forced politicians and decision makers to have to listen to the constituents now. So here in America, I think it's a great time for everybody to get out and start yelling about this stuff, when it comes to governance in their local communities.
Yeah, and a lot of this is actually all that is needed for them is just an interface because the database is already here and the APIs are here. They can talk to everything. So
yeah,
that's great.
The foundation's there.
Yeah, and we actually have a question. If do we have any kind of product example of implementing NFTs as a marketing gadget? Do you have something that comes to mind there?
Do I have some? That's a good question. So no, as of right now, no. And that's really without giving too much away about what's coming up and what we're planning. There's nothing that exists yet that as a marketing product. And that's really what I'm focused on as a CEO of Cypherglass, as a member of this community, as somebody who wants to innovate on top of EOSIO. That's kind of what my niche is going to be and where I'm finding a home. So no, there are no real digital marketing NFT products yet. And that's what I would love to see. I mean, the possibilities are endless. I mean, look at something like Supreme that's built a brand on limited supply. Think about if every one of those hats comes with an NFT that's collectible, and then there's an app and you go to your favorite concert, and now your hat can check into your concert and you're earning rewards because, Supreme sponsored that concert or they sponsored that event. There's all kinds of these like different interactive ways to play with NFTs because one, they're non-fungible. Nobody's going to go sell them. You can always identify it and it's not going to be this speculative asset, but it's also going to always identify that one item. So no, there's no products out there yet. And that's what I think we're working on right now.
Yeah, and for something like that, all you need is one API call to see who's holding it, and then just sign a transaction at the door, and you can show that it's yours.
Boom, done.
That is as easy as it is for all of these tickets and everything like that. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will be excited when that happens, when they start to interact with something that you buy before and how you can use that in the future for discounts, for whatever.
Think about it, like here in America, we love our NBA, we love football, we love sports. When things go back to normal, I hope that we're able to attend these things again. Maybe your favorite, you wear your jersey and your jersey checks you into the game and then you receive all kinds of benefits for that. You're entered into raffles. I mean, the possibilities are truly endless when it comes to this technology. They're not just for trading cards. They're not just for cryptocurrency. These things have real live use cases and are applicable in your everyday life. So that's the next phase, I think, here of the technology we've all been building.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because something as simple as, like, if you buy, I don't know the word for it in English, if you buy a ticket for something like a 1-year subscription to go to games or whatever, if you buy that and that is an NFT, they can easily prove that this is the one that is for 2020. You have it when you go to the door, you're let in. Right. And if you don't want it anymore, you can flip it. And they get this, yeah, and someone else buys it, but you also get the one that issued it is able to collect some fees for it. There's a lot of different ways to do that. So yeah, the
Yeah,
endless
you could
opportunities.
end Ticketmaster like that effectively.
Yeah.
I mean, if the NBA ever wanted to cut out the middleman between their customers and themselves, this would be an easy way to do it. Okay, Ticketmaster, we don't need you anymore. We know exactly how many seats are in this arena. We're going to print that many NFTs and we're just going to put them out there and sell them, and that would be the end of it. I mean, then you would have free market pricing on NBA tickets. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and the user wouldn't even need to know that it's a blockchain. It just has the app, buys it, and then it can sell it, and everything is smooth inside their own app or whatever. So that's great.
It's comical and kind of funny when you hear people in the crypto community, and I should say these are way more speculators than knowledgeable people, but a lot of people do this. Oh, what's the real use case for blockchain? What is blockchain actually good for? The answer is everything. Anything that needs to be database or certificate, everything. So to me, people who are skeptical of this technology, I don't think they truly understand its power quite yet.
No, and I mean, to be honest, if we just look at the market right now, people do not invest in fundamentals; they invest in buzzwords.
No.
They don't need to understand anything. Most of the people are just here to make money, and they find what other people are buying and hope to sell it before they do.
Right. The crypto market is not. When I first came into the crypto market back in 2014, I had some guy that wouldn't shut up in my office telling me to buy Bitcoin, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll buy it. And then it went up, and suddenly I cared. I started to get really involved, and even back then I remember not understanding the fundamentals myself to now coming 5 years later to understanding the way this stuff really works. I can honestly say that I didn't know what I was talking about. First 2 years I was like, oh, we're going to end banks and we're going to centralize everything, and I really believed it, and I'm glad I did, because that's the passion that got me to keep going. But then you kind of get to the other side and you realize, oh, this asset class is just like any other. There's bad actors, there's good actors, there's people that have good ideas that don't have funding, there's people who have bad ideas who have funding. So it's really and truly a free market, and it's interesting because the price is not always going to reflect the technology or the utility or if it's even going to make it. So, my warning to everybody investing in this market is to truly make sure you believe in where you're putting your money.
Yes, and if you want to speculate, feel free to do that, but know that you may lose everything.
Yeah.
The market turns quickly. It's not like the stock market. A few percent is a big move. No.
Mm-mm.
Not currently, anyway. Things can move for hundreds of percent in no time. Hey, Nichols.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go to something that is on everyone's mind right now, and I know that you like to speculate on stuff that move a lot. At least that's what your Twitter profile says. So are you open enough to talk about what you look at right now?
Sure, and just as a disclaimer, because I do it every time, I hold these tokens, I am speculating, and I am not a financial advisor, but happy to talk about it.
Yeah, nothing in this episode is financial advice in any way, blah, 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 disclaimer.
Right. Yeah, all speculation. But, right now, you're looking at these farming tokens, and I think these are interesting, to say the least, because I think every one of these farming tokens, especially Sushi and Wi-Fi, like you have these two tokens right now taking off. I think the premise is cool. I think their math is really cool. Their algo is cool. Like what they're doing is awesome. However, that being said, these will not last. These will go down. I think that Wi-Fi has the opportunity to maybe reach 100K. I see it happening. However, it will be a pump and dump. It won't be something that sticks around. This is not a financial product. This is never going to be used by a bank. This is never going to be used by an enterprise company to pay anybody. And that's how personally I distinguish real from fake. Yes, I'm sure the price is going to skyrocket, and I'm sure that the way that they are yield farming, it works clearly. However, I'm pretty sure the SEC is watching. I'm pretty sure that
you don't think 3,000% is healthy?
No, I think the SEC is hard at work right now staring at that token because they know while the farming and the yield magic is actually working, like yes, it is yielding these high returns. Where is the money going? Who's pulling it out? What's happening with it? What is it being used for? There's all these different questions that people don't really think about, and who's really making the money? You know, where was the supply lying? Where was the distribution lying before it started going parabolic? And these are the questions that nobody ever wants to ask because they're just looking to get rich. But what you don't realize is that in the process, you're making other people rich that are just in turn going to use that money to further scam more people out of their money. So, you know, I think every dollar that goes into these projects is a contribution in that effort. So me personally, I don't speculate on yield farming quite yet because I think it's still too early. And I also don't want to explain to the SEC where I got 3,000%. So, you know, that's how I see the DeFi market right now. I think eventually there's going to be real yield tokens that give back and figure something out. Not quite that high, of course, but like you know, look at Maker and Dai have come such a long way figuring things out. I'm sure one of these yield and farming tokens is going to take it to the next level and end up being a working DAO eventually. I don't know which one it is yet.
Yeah, and and I mean, worth adding is that a lot of the contracts coming on Ethereum, if you do not know how to read code, you should have someone that can read code. We don't know if anything is malicious, but for example, the kimchi token, I love that they use food, but the kimchi token in the contract, it says that the owner of the contract can issue as many tokens as he wants. And that is something that you need to understand, that he has the power to just hit the button and get tokens. So if you pump it, he can just hit more and sell it on you, and you are the one that will take the loss. If he is a malicious actor, perhaps he is legit. It could be something that he's planned to use, but it's scary.
It's almost like I mean, is it just me, or do I feel like they built the Federal Reserve on a network? It's like, wait a second here. Like, you gave everybody the power to hit the print button. That's not good. That's not what we want. I don't trust people to understand how to calculate that math correctly. I don't trust people to understand what they're doing to that ecosystem by pulling those tokens out. So you're putting a lot of trust in people who probably don't understand the fine tokenomics of it all. And that's why I wouldn't put my money in those things. I mean, I think there's super educated investors who have been doing this for years and years and years who are going to make a killing on it. I think that the 99% of people in there are not those people. So, you know, I see this DeFi movement as the next ICO. You know, we're going to look back and say, oh, that was ICO part 2. You know, there's going to be a lot of rich people, and there's going to be a lot of people who lost money. That's just the way free markets work. So while I hate that crypto always ends up getting slammed and, you know, it keeps legitimate investors from entering the market, we've got to go through these growing pains and kind of got to shake out the weak hands.
Yeah, and what you said about the Federal Reserve and the banking system, I mean, DAI is the one that is most established right now. And that, I mean, the crypto market grew from hating banks and hating the fractional reserve, and now DAI has 300% more lent value than it has staked. So, I mean, it created the same system, but it's transparent. It's a lot of people that put in money. It's different, but it's, I mean, for me it's a bit scary. Yeah, I don't know.
It's scary. This whole crypto experiment started because a group of people got together and said, you know what, we hate inflation. Like, inflation is not good for money. Inflation is bad for money. It makes it softer. And then I think 10 years later, we're like, inflation's not that bad. We kind of need it. We need a little. We need to be able to pay people. We need to be able to trust that they're going to get paid. You know, we need to be able to reward people for using the system. And, you know, I think some of these networks, you know, they're like, oh, we're finite, we're not inflatable. And it ended up not being true. I mean, look at Ethereum. While I know we debunked the supply issue on Ethereum, and I understand why it was an issue to begin with, at the same time, I think even that point alone proves that crypto is He's not. The laws of economics on crypto are still being figured out. They're not finite. They're not in stone yet. They're still being figured out. So nothing's perfect yet, still a developing ecosystem. But I think in another 10 years, we're going to look back at these movements and see how they all ended up leading up to new financial products that are harder and better than the ones we currently see in the open market.
Yeah, and I think you are correct, because inflation is a loaded word and everyone is scared of it. But I mean, Bitcoin has inflation, Ethereum has inflation, EOS has inflation. The difference on Bitcoin and Ethereum is that it's a capped supply, and you know how much is coming. You can anticipate it. You have the halvenings, it's less inflation, but it's still inflation. It's the growing supply. And I don't see that as something unhealthy, because that growth is what finance the whole ecosystem. I mean, like, look at Wax. The guilds are paid by inflation, but what their guilds are doing is building projects like Atomic had, Atomic Assets, and I mean, those are the two biggest ones. But we have like blocks, and we have wallets being built. We have a lot of different smaller and bigger projects bringing in games, and we have teams. 30 teams all over the world that work full time to bring content and create stuff for Wax, and that is paid by the ecosystem, by inflation. And for me, that is something beautiful.
Yeah, I think for that of a wrap as the DPoS gets as a consensus algorithm, it's the best. I don't see anything else working in the future. I think POW is absolutely not going to work for anything else other than Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin is the solid foundation that the rest of the ecosystem stands on. That being said, Ethereum and EOS don't work all that differently. And I've tried explaining this to people, and forget it. They're not gonna listen. You know, just because we elect the nodes that run on EOS, for some reason that makes it more centralized. But on Ethereum, you don't know who's running your network. It's really at the liberty of these mining pools that truly have 51% control. And you're never going to know that. I mean, for all they know on Ethereum, the transaction fees could be totally bogus. I mean, you would have no real way of knowing that those transaction fees aren't being manipulated, because the Ethereum miners know that it's a hot market right now, and that you're going to pay it because you're going to pay that $16 fee, because they know you're going to make money on it anyway, because they know you don't care. At least in something like EOS or on DPoS chains, I know exactly who my node operators are. It's almost a level of KYC for node operators. And I can actually look and point and say, like, look, you guys are messing up. I know exactly who to talk to. And I know how to take control of that in a DPoS arena. Whereas in a completely decentralized arena like Ethereum, you're kind of just at the mercy of however the tokens fall. And clearly the distribution is leaning in favor of the miners. So for me, I'm still having trouble understanding why DPoS gets such a bad rap as a consensus algorithm in being more centralized. Just don't get that one.
Yeah, and I agree, and I actually think that the whole discussion is, if we have decentralization on a line, they are discussing where on that line to place different projects. And right. for me, that's an uninteresting conversation, because I'm more focused on what kind of problem we are solving, and each solution has some kind of flaw and some kind of benefit. And like the Wax team looked what happened on EOS, and they added this Office of Inspector Generals that make all the guilds work even harder and being more transparent with what they are doing, how they are doing it, where they spend their time, if they want any votes. And if they do not deliver, you don't get the votes. And it's as simple as that. And that is actually very healthy, I think. Like you said, some kind of KYC.
Blockchain governance has been something that's just consumed my life and fascinated me for the last 3 years. And it's funny how it's happening at a time when it's so parallel to real, geopolitical governance happening in the world. I have not earned a fiat dollar in over 3 years now. I have been completely crypto for 3 years. And the moment I switched my money from a national money to a money that can cross borders and global, is global, my mindset changed. My whole mindset changed. What I cared about, what I thought about, what I watched on the news, what I consumed, what information I paid attention to, it totally changed. Because when you go from using a money that's only allowed in one border to one that's allowed over borders, suddenly you just look at the world completely different. And I think like that's the part of the movement that I want to be a part of, is kind of slowly helping traditional systems figure out how to govern people better. And DPoS has been such an interesting use case on a small level that I think there's some real application there. And currently, I mean, if anybody's interested in governance, like actual governance, the Governance Blockchain Association out in DC is always taking applications. Cypherglass is a member. EOS Detroit, who designed the Wax IG system, is also a member of that. And we're always taking these concepts and pulling them over into real governance problems and seeing if we can solve problems in everyday America or everyday governance with them. So, you know, if you're looking to get more involved in the governance side of this stuff, GBA is a great organization.
Yeah, and for me, I thought that discussing the government parts and all the governance of all the blockchains was very interesting. But now everything I want to find out about is how we can build stuff that is exciting for the consumers.
Yeah. I mean, I think right now Wax is probably, I want to say Wax is probably the only chain I know that has a real product. I can't think of anything else that has a product. So you know, that's the path I'm following. I'm kind of going down this path of design. You know, how do we design these semi-public, semi-private chains to meet the needs of products?
Yeah, and I mean, Wax is designed to trade digital assets. It's a purpose-built blockchain, so it's actually designed from the start. Okay, how can we enable this? And for that, we need some kind of easy-to-use wallet, and they bring the cloud wallet. For the sales, the last couple of sales, it has not lived up to expectations. Hopefully, that will be fixed in the future. But for that, we have other types of wallet like Scatter and Anchor, and we have some kind of Wax desktop wallet that is being built by one of the guilds, and we have a few other tools that is coming, and all the marketplaces that are coming. I mean, it's built for assets, but we also have the biggest crypto casino running on the same chain, and
yeah.
That's I mean, I don't gamble because I have no way to stop. If I start to gamble, I lose all my money, so I don't do it.
I feel like everybody in this ecosystem has a highly addictive personality, because I'm the same way. Yeah. I just don't do it. I don't participate anymore. This is just my work now, not my hobby anymore. But I mean, I think NFTs are probably even the future of speculating and trading. I think there's going to be a huge market around that. There already is. I'm seeing NFTs go for, I think, over $50,000 at this point. Art NFTs, I'm just floored. I mean, some people are paying 50 grand for digital art. It's just mind blowing.
It's beautiful.
I can't wait. Voice is so much more of an important product than I think people realize, because timestamping is so much more important than people realize. And timestamping your own written content on a blockchain that you can point back to is pretty important, especially if you're like a Forbes writer or you're an Associated Press writer and you're not really wanting to just throw your stuff out on a stream that's going to get used in ways that you're not even sure. To be able to actually hold your content and say, no, okay, I am going to allow it to get used with this clickbait title or this, you know, on this Facebook campaign is a pretty powerful thing. Because as of right now, if I go write something and publish it, I'm not in control necessarily of how that's going to be republished and used down the line. So that's also a really important feature of voice that I think people are overlooking.
Yeah, and I mean, Wordproof is also trying to do something similar with WordPress, just to be able to, I mean, newspapers publish crap and then they say, oh, sorry, we didn't publish something that was accurate, but there's no trace of it afterwards. Or they used to print it and then they published a small line that said the article in the old newspaper was false, or we had wrong information.
Retraction.
Yeah, and that is just stupid. And they do the same with research, and no one really pay attention. But I
Yeah.
just pull up some of the numbers of the, because I have it. I can't show it. It's on another device. But we actually trade 37.8 million wax since May 12th on NFT.
Oh
So
my gosh.
and that's
See, that's crazy.
191,000 NFTs being transferred. So
Somebody,
191,000. Yeah.
that's a lot just on the wax ecosystem.
Yeah.
I can't, that's a lot. I'm super proud of this project. It's been a really, really fun ride participating in it. And like as a node operator, you always want to make sure that you're giving back to the ecosystem. And I think a lot of us, I don't know about other guilds, but I know me personally, there's always this consistent imposter syndrome nipping at your heels when you're a node operator, because you always want to make sure that you're earning your keep, that that you're really earning that daily reward, and that you're giving back to the ecosystem. So I love that the Wax IG system is built on this idea that we're going to reward points for the things that you bring into the ecosystem, which is much different than any of the other chains. In reality, I really love that rating system. So, if you're looking for a rating system for a chain, or if you're interested in governance, that's one to definitely check out. And again, throwing props out to the EOS Detroit team for designing such a great governance model.
Yeah, they did a great job with Barcelona and Sandblocks. The three of them did a great job, and I mean the first iteration had a lot of flaws, and each iteration since then has only become better and better and better, because they thought this was the way, and then they noticed, oh, people react this way when they see this kind of information and guidelines, and then they have to tweak them. And each month there's more and more tweaks, and it's becoming better. It's not done, and I don't think it will ever be done.
Well, and even the WPS system is something to really behold. I mean, I'm, as a block producer, so looking forward to this WPS system and utilizing it to build things, because I earn my tokens. Cypherglass, we earn our tokens for operating the network, for standing up the infrastructure, for running it. James is awesome. He's always on that, computer, making sure our nodes are running smoothly. And we get paid for that, right? But it sometimes feels like, okay, do we dip into the money we're making as a node operator to market and produce content and do all of these other kind of business development associated activities? And that can be difficult when you're a business owner to want to don't put some of your profit towards that. So it's great to see a WPS system that I can apply to and say, hey, I have this idea, I'd like to fund it. Give me some tokens and let me prove myself. And that's exactly what we're going to start doing. Cypherglass is going to start utilizing the WPS system and proposing marketing campaigns for grassroots community influencers to see if we can try to generate some more, wallets and users from the existing crypto community, because I just don't think we're fully out there yet. And I think if you're a content creator who's watching this and you're interested in earning some wax because you think there's potential there, get in contact with one of the node operators or the guilds, and we'll help you figure out how to apply to that system to get you some wax, because the system is paying out for people who are bringing value to the network. So you too. I think even Anyobservation, you guys should be applying for some tokens. And
I actually applied for it like a month ago. I didn't apply for a lot. I calculated how much I needed to rebuild this studio that I have. I have this room in my apartment that is set up only for this, and I applied for about this much is needed for it. So I just wanted some help to help finance it. I had to buy a new computer and some lights and everything, and I'm still waiting for a proper response from the team, because everything that you apply, you first apply that, you send it to Wax team, they evaluate it, and if they like it, they push it, and then the voting goes on, and then if you pass the vote, then you get the funding, and if they approved it right now, that means that you will get the money in the end.
Definitely. Well, I think it's going to take a little bit of trying to get that wall knocked down for the business development and marketing side, but I think we'll do it. And it'll be even more interesting to see how we prove, like, hey, we are bringing value to the network by doing this stuff. So that'd be something I'd love to work with you on, actually, is trying to figure out how to get wax out of the lab system to produce content, because there's tons of content creators that are out there that I think would love to hold a small bag of wax and produce some content and help the cause. which we need right now. There's still a huge marketplace for us inside of crypto to keep growing, to build a solid foundation, and then we can go into the mainstream market.
Yeah, and right now I know that there are tools being built that will make this easier. We have some, some of the content creators that are a bit bigger, they often have some kind of store, they're selling merch. Some of them ship them out themselves. If they do that, they can actually use the plugin that EOS Barcelona built that is, I think is live now or live any day now, where you can actually plug into WooCommerce and you can charge with Wax.
Wow.
And that is great. And I'm talking to another team about the Stream plugin. So you can donate NFTs and donate Wax, and it will show up on Stream as you stream. Obviously, that's something I want to use myself, that I can just plug in, and if someone sends an NFT, it will come up an NFT in the corner, and everyone can see it.
Or just giveaways, trading. I mean, it would be really neat to have, to do things like. I mean, I would love to see something like that, because then you can incorporate like real gaming into it, and you can be like, all right, we're gonna play a game online on Xbox, and we're gonna put this NFT in escrow, and whoever wins gets it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Tons of tools. There's tons of social tools coming out with the NFTs. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that the tool for the stream overlay is rather simple to build. It just has to be done, and then it just speaks to an API, and we have plenty of APIs available. So.
Well, any other guilds watching this, any other devs watching this, anybody who's building these things, if you need support, if you need funding, please contact me at info@cypherglass.com. We are always looking to support projects and get involved however we can. We don't have developers, but we have an infrastructure team that's awesome, and we have a marketing team that's awesome. And so we're always willing to help and collaborate with any NFT project that's going on, EOSIO or not. So, we're out there.
That's very good to know. And we can also add that in the description afterwards if someone listens.
Okay.
And Nichols is actually watching right now, and he actually he had a funny comment before that the Wax OEG. If you take EOS governance, stopped eating McDonald's, and went on an organic diet, that's comparing Wax with the OEG compared to the old governance. So I don't know. Wax is the organic diet for the governance.
It's true.
Yeah, it's the healthy one.
EOS is truly it gets so much crap, but it's truly the dinosaur. We really show EOS more love, because it was the first one out there, and the first one through the door always gets shot. So at the end of the day, and people are always like, you're such an EOS maximalist, and maybe I am, I don't know. I just see tons of potential for that network. I see it as a liquidity pairing for so many future EOSIO tokens. I see it as the heartbeat for this growing ecosystem that will eventually not be labeled as EOS. So try to give it some love, even though it is fatty McDonald's. It's so
for me, I use EOSIO. I use Wax and EOS and Telos. I don't use Telos, but I use Proton, FIO, a lot of different chains. And what I experience is that when you understand the permission system, everything is super simple and smooth with EOSIO. But if you use any of the wallets, at least from my perspective, they all suck. They are so bad. User interface is bad. They don't always work. There's some glitches, and that's everything with software. But the user experience is not good. You can't sign things. But if you compare it with other chains, we have awesome tools.
As far as actual operability and scalability and transaction speed and things just working, we have that. What we don't have is layman understanding yet. We don't have everyday people understanding how to use this stuff. If I use Exodus wallet and then try to use Anchor wallet, the differences are just so different. It's just massively different. I opened up Scatter wallet and Anchor wallet and showed some of my Bitcoin friends, and they were like, we don't even know what this is. This looks like a whole different portal. And I'm not knocking anybody's work, because for me, I use these tools every day as a block producer. I know exactly what they do and I can use them. But if we're trying to onboard everyday people, I think that designers need to be aiming, closer to like the Shapeshift and Exodus wallet and Bread wallet and these really simple designs. And I also think we need to stop calling them like wallets even. I think we need to start calling them, files or holders or just something else. I think the terminology in blockchain in general is all wrong for the best public.
Yeah, they are actually not a wallet. They are a blockchain signer. That's the only thing a wallet is. You only sign stuff with it. You don't hold anything. You put your key in it and then you sign a transaction. That's all a wallet ever is, except if it's a custodial wallet. But then it's even that just that you don't have the keys.
Right. So I think we're still not hitting the UI UX, bullseye quite yet. That still needs a lot of work, and it's hard. So then you have Wax, or who came up with this genius idea of, all right, we're just going to use social media identifiers to log in. Well, that's great. I think it's great, but then you have to ask how secure it is. So we've got to meet somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the middle between being able to log on with my Facebook, but still be secure enough, like something like Anchor. We're not quite there yet, but give it time. We'll get there.
Yeah, and we just had a comment about the NFTs. We have growth and we have a lot of NFTs, but we don't see the growth, and what he means is price. And I want to argue that we see growth because we have 3 times as many users trading NFTs in August than we had in June.
I'll tell you where you see the growth. You see it because of the user wallets. You see it because you see it in the number of NFTs that are out there. That's really where you see it. I mean, not just that, NFTs being held and traded. I'm not even interested in the price of the NFTs. I'm interested in how much is being transacted, like how many transactions are actually happening. Because I think if you're in blockchain and you're looking to build a product, that microtransactions are your best bet at actually making money. And that's what we see on the Wax blockchain. We see tons of microtransactions. And that to me is a promising sign that anybody that comes in and builds a tool on top of this or launches NFT products on top of this is going to have a super easy time selling them. So we're talking about a marketplace that's maturing 3 times as fast as any other marketplace in crypto right now.
Yeah, and
it's just unbeatable.
And what people also should to consider is that each month that we see trade volume on marketplaces, they will work on improving them. And we had simple marketplace in the start, and you couldn't search for things. There was a lot of things that was broken. You can do that now. They have improved. They put all the feedback. In my opinion, they were slow to respond. They should have responded directly and they should have fixed it. But they had other priorities. I don't know what they were working with. They were working with something. They should have fixed it, but they didn't. So what they did instead, they lost the marketplace, because GPK market came and then collectibles came, and now Atomic Hub came and took over. But the one with the best user interface right now is Wax Stash, which is not really used. It's just a few thousand Wax being traded there. But that marketplace is actually being developed a lot right now. And if you go, you don't have to look for things because it's right in front of you. And that is something a new user need.
I'm writing that down because I have not seen it yet. And I'm really excited to see what they're doing. I mean, that's how fast this marketplace moves. If you have an idea, you better build it you better start building it the moment you have it, because somebody else is thinking about it and building it. And like you said, you'll lose the marketplace to a better product like that. It really doesn't take much. But that being said, you're talking about, I mean, I'm wondering, how many wallets did you say were in the Wax ecosystem currently?
I think we have 6 or 7 wallets, and I know that there are 4 or 5 more coming.
Wow, that's fast.
And I'm probably missing one of them, but most people, they use the Cloud Wallet, Ledger, Scatter, Anchor, or Simplios, and that's 5. And then we have a few others as well. We have mobile wallets and Anchor Mobile, and there's an Android wallet coming, and then we have a wallet that is not announced that is coming very soon as well, that I know about. that may be very interesting. It should be announced in not a lot of time.
That's a lot of I didn't realize we had that many wallets in the space. That's a lot. I mean, I use a ledger because I'm old school, but you know, I've toyed around with my Wax Cloud wallet plenty of times and had people send me stuff there, and it really is a super easy to use product and chain and ecosystem, and it's super fun. I have been up way too long, way too late on atomic assets trading NFTs, so it's addicting.
Yeah, it is, and it is really fun actually. I'm not a collector anyway. I don't buy things if I don't need them. I may have some gifts that I didn't buy that I want to, but really I don't buy things if I don't want to use it because I think it's unnecessary. But then yet here I am buying all the NFTs and trading them and having a lot of fun. So
I mean, I get it. I'm on the minimalistic lifestyle too, because up until, you know, COVID hit and kind of stopped the world, I was doing digital nomad traveling for 2 years. So I get it. And as a digital nomad, I'm pretty excited that I get to hoard digital items.
your shoe closet is in the NFT space.
Right.
We need Nike or something.
Okay. Somebody listening to this, please build shoes, but as crypto kitties on Wax. I am your customer. That's me. If you start building collectible shoes and NFTs on, I'm going to buy them. So just know that there's a market for that.
Yeah, and what some kind of designer could do is the same like Kevin Winger does. He has this oil painting that he has painted. He presents it, he sells his NFTs, 50 of them, and one of them will get the real pair. So what they could do with shoes is you do the same thing with digital shoes, but one of them get the real pair. And that could be something, I mean, marketing, I don't know.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and the other 49 get a discount buying it, and they actually increase the sale on the second market as well.
Oh man, stop. I'm like, this is, as a woman and an NFT person, I'm like, this is perfect. This is my dream. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the applications for it are truly endless.
Yeah, and that's what I actually find kind of annoying with a lot of the communities, that they sit here by the computer all day and they complain that the price is not moving. But there are so many things that you can build to help the ecosystem and make a business for yourself.
Yep. You don't even need to be building them. You just need to be writing about them or talking about them or sharing them or getting people interested in them. This is crypto. If you have a problem with the price of the token you're holding, it's your responsibility to do something about it. It's your responsibility to go out and tell people why that token is valuable and why it's a healthy network and why they should be using it. And if you can't find a reason to do that, you probably shouldn't be holding that token. Blaming the operators of the network, blaming the exchanges, blaming the people who wrote the code to begin with is the laziest excuse for a token price not going up. And don't bring it. Don't bring it to our community, because we're just gonna laugh at you because it's a free market. If you have a problem with token price or the way a network's being run, you need to look at yourself and ask yourself, how am I contributing to the health and value of this network?
Yeah, and I can only agree. Now on the stream you cannot see it, but I actually brought up a graph of the NFT trading on Wax, and we can see that the volume traded in August is way more healthy than anything we have seen before. I can actually forward it to you on Telegram.
Perfect.
So you can see it at the same time, because I mean, in the start, in the hype, we have a lot of sales for each of the new one, but then it dies and it is slow, and then we have a release, we have some more sales, and then it slows. But now we're actually sustaining it pretty well for the last month, and that for me is very exciting.
It is. I mean, with the market coming back in general, right? You have people who are more willing to speculate and look at other assets, but when you stumble onto something that's actually real and collectible, I think, you know, people are like, oh yeah, I'm getting into this, I'm getting on this. People aren't even speculating on the Wax price as much as they're speculating on the NFTs on Wax, which is really awesome. I mean, I'm holding the crap out of my wax right now, but it's awesome to see people speculating on the products of the token I'm holding versus the actual token.
Yeah, and I actually have a friend. I've mentioned him before because in my surrounding area where people I know, I don't have a lot of people that actually are into crypto, except Eric, which is my brother, which is the CTO of Sweden. Of Sweden, that sounds like the country, but we are Sweden, southwest of Eden. That's our team. So, but he actually traded World of Warcraft items, and he actually made a good money. He played World of Warcraft for years for free because he traded items, and he actually got some money out of it, and he put that into stocks and things like that. So when I showed him the Garbage Pail Kids, the first sale, and I showed him, look, I made a lot of money doing this because the Series 1, I think I made a little bit more. When I had made 30 times my input money, I took out 25x, and I'm still using that same money each sale now of NFT. So I don't put in more money. I've used the same one. And I enjoy, and after that I have collected. I have a lot of fat mats, and I have each collection. I find a few jewels that I really like, and I try to collect them. And I find it very interesting. And he went into this. And he went into it only to trade. He wanted to buy and he wanted to sell. And then he wanted to forget about it. And the next one. But now he actually finds it so much fun. So he has started to collect them as well. He's like, I'm just gonna do this for trading. And now his wallet is growing. And he is like, yeah, but I will keep these ones.
They get you. I was the same way. I was like, I don't want any part of this. It's just, I don't see the point in paying money for things that I'm literally never going to hold, and they're just in my wallet. And then a couple of the other BPs and guilds sent me packs to open, and we're like, here's a pack, and here's this. And I started opening and playing with, and it just got to be so much fun. And now I'm collecting. I'm not, I should be ashamed to say it, but I was definitely sitting around the other day waiting for the Flash Gordon ones to drop, sitting there like, okay, I'm gonna get it. So yeah, it's become a hobby and a habit of mine that I didn't really ever think I would pick up. And I know what you mean. I mean, I played WoW growing up. That's how I got into gaming. And I remember the days when people were making a shit ton of money on WoW Gold and trading items. And I honestly believe that's kind of one of the places speculative cryptocurrency kind of got its start. Brock Pierce was a part of that entire movement, and that's where he got his experience from. So, I mean, we've come a long way from that. And I think that's next. That's the next application for NFT marketplaces is gaming NFT marketplaces. Fortnite skins, weapons, things that you level up. That's what I want to see. I want to see gamers get paid for building up these items and all their time and attention, because right now the gaming industry is raking in so much money on people's time and attention, and they're not earning anything back or holding that value, and that is a huge problem. So hopefully there are people out there working on products that will impress larger gaming industry players and get them to understand, hey, we do need to start sharing our profits with our audience, because we're going to start losing them to decentralized marketplaces if we don't. And that's why Mythical Games and Blancos is so exciting.
Yeah, and
they come out.
I am actually excited about another way into the gaming space, because people try to build these average games, or actually they're actually low standard indie games, most of the games in the crypto space. And what they actually can do is take any AAA game that is moddable, and they can build a mod that fetch data from the blockchain. So you can actually have NFTs in the game just by using these mods on the game. So that is possible with Minecraft, with Ark Survival Evolved. There's a lot of games where you can actually do this. And Alien Worlds is designed to be this ecosystem where you can actually build this on top of it. So if anyone is interested in games and know how to mod games, talk to the guys in Alien Worlds, talk to me, and I can help connect you. And we can build modifications of games, so we can play AAA games, new ones, old ones, with the NFTs, and earn Trillium. Trillium is a token of Alien Worlds, and earn NFTs and everything from playing the game. So you can actually go into Ark Survival Evolved is a game where you farm minerals and you tame dinos and you can ride dinos and fight people. So you can actually farm dinos and farm minerals and everything and earn NFTs. So you actually earn money playing the game that is not built to earn money.
I didn't know you could do that. I didn't even know it could just overlay like that on top of a game. Because I mean, I'm a gamer. I play like Monster World, Monster Hunters and Civilization and all kinds of different stuff. I mean, that's really neat to think about, that I could have this whole separate whole separate app, whole separate marketplace, and be interacting with people, but playing this game with them. That's cool. I had no idea that was even possible. I mean, I knew Alien Worlds was coming out and I kind of got the gist of that. But to hear that it's a mod that could be plugged in today, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that is why I mean the trailer for Alien Worlds, what I wanted to do when I made it was to push the vision where it can go, because this is where I see that what we should focus on. We should not focus on, well, it's kind of fun to play tower defense. It's kind of fun to play get time-based games where you start something and you come back later. But I think that's not where we will have all the exciting players. We will not get all the streamers. They will not come. We'll have some. But when we start to play real games, that's when everything goes crazy.
That's parabolic. Yeah, that's the difference between the market cap we have now and the market cap we will have eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, we're a year or two into Wax really taking off. I can't wait to see what the next year brings. For me, as a managing partner of Cypherglass, Wax for me right now is my number one priority as a network, because it's got so many community members and such an active ecosystem that I'm honestly forced to put my attention there over other chains, just because that's what the community wants. So yeah, I mean, I'm stoked. Can't wait.
Yeah, and in August we had about 1,200 users trading NFTs, which it doesn't sound a lot, but then again, 1,200 users, they transfer 50,000 NFTs, so that's a few NFTs per person, and it's almost 10 million wax in trade volume. So there's a lot of wax moving from these users, and they as I said before, it's 3 times the users from June. So if we just continue growing this with just double it each 2 months, and we have a lot of users soon, and we will be able to sustain them, onboarding, educate them, provide better wallets. The marketplaces have time to adapt, to become better. I mean, we are early here. We are not ready for mass adoption. We are ready for more users. We're ready for new projects. We are ready to build everything that needs to be built, and to fund every project and all the marketplaces and all the teams. We need users actually using it to make some kind of interaction.
We do. We need more people actually holding and using the token. And then that's our goal right now at Cypherglass, is to, like I said, we're really going to take a marketing stance from this direction. Going into 2021, I think that's what you're going to see Cypherglass doing, is really starting to put forward all of the funds we've been saving up and start moving those towards marketing efforts for these nodes that we operate, these networks that we operate on, because that's, at the end of the day, what a good node operator does. They are bringing users onto the networks that they're using, because, hey, that's how we get paid. I look at it as the more blocks we can produce, the more money everybody makes, the bigger the ecosystem is growing. And I have an attitude of, a rising tide lifts all ships. So, if we can all come together and kind of bring these users into the space, slowly but surely that token price is going to climb, and the value of the entire ecosystem is going to climb with it.
Yeah, and I fully agree. We have been on this for about 70 minutes now, so I'm feeling like we should start to feel done with this live stream. Perhaps we have some kind of question from anyone, but we actually have a few users that are kind of exciting about this chat about Wax and the future and the vision of everything. So with Cypherglass, you're working on the marketing side, and you want to integrate more into Wax, what you guys are doing, and through the labs. Right. What have you been working on for the last month before we go here?
Yeah, so for the last month, what I have been working on is kind of underground grassroots marketing campaigns with the influencers that I regularly work with. In the background, outside of Cypherglass, a lot of my work is PR and marketing. I, do a lot of copywriting articles, help people get into more mainstream crypto media and help them be seen with influencers who I know are looking for good projects. So I'm really just helping lay the roads between a lot of these projects and users. But really, over at Cypherglass with my infra team, we've been working on a couple of small plugins for networks. The guys that I work with are all infrastructure heavy, and so they're looking at maybe building some Zappix plugins to monitor the network so that it's easier for all of us to make sure that the network's running healthy. And we're kind of just starting to focus on our nodes and making sure that they're strong. I mean, the token price matters so much to standby block producers, to block producers in general. It's so dynamic that every day I have to readjust my plan. And what we're spending and do the math every day. So as of right now, we've been slowly saving our chips, slowly saving our tokens to kind of go into 2021 with a louder bang and start producing some better tools and better monitoring tools for the networks. We originally built Glass and Windshield when we first launched, and these were two monitoring tools that the entire community used and to watch the nodes to kind of make sure that the network was working. And now we're thinking about building more features onto them because we've noticed that, as the last 2 years have gone on, we've learned what we need to watch closely and monitor closely. So maybe something that monitors CPU a little closer, maybe something that monitors latency a little closer. We're really trying to focus on making sure that all of the network is healthy in infrastructure. So we started to move our nodes over from, cloud infrastructure, going back to bare metal, making sure that we're, thinking about standing up some history nodes because those are really important. But obviously, really trying to watch the market to make sure that we can do that. So, just taking our time and slowly building these tools, but mindfully so that we don't bankrupt ourselves. It's a balancing act.
Yeah, and if people don't know that all these teams that run infrastructure need 24/7 personnel, they need to be on standby. If something goes down, they need to work no matter where they are or what time it is. And that costs money and running the servers and everything. So that's great. And I think that it should be healthy and that you plan and you work and you have to make it in the speed that you're capable of doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I said it before and I'll say it again. No guilds, block producers, whatever you want to call it, our job is to run the infrastructure. That's what we're paid to do. I think anything anybody does on top of that is just showcasing how much more they want to be a part of that network. But at the end of the day, node operators are electricity providers for these networks. So we are paid to do our job, and that is our core focus at Cypherglass, making sure that we always have top-notch, well-run, always monitored, secure infrastructure for these networks.
Sounds amazing, and I think that we can call it.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're done there. No, but thanks for coming, and I hope that people have enjoyed this. We have had a few people tuning in and having questions and interacting with the chat, so that's great. And
awesome.
Always happy to sit down and talk with you again in the future. So it was great.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Anders. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for watching and all the questions. And if you need to get a hold of me, you can find me on Twitter or, of course, cypherglass.com.
Yeah, and her Twitter is on the screen all the time, so you can just go there.